I got Boots. Yeah, I got Boots. I think he's too skillful. The IQ level, how quick he is. I think his level's above.
It's hard to really go against Boots because on that one was specifically Xander. You know, I feel Xander's still young. You know, Boots is a lot older and has a lot more experience.
Is this a fight that you dare to say is a 50-50 fight?
Yeah, it gives a 50-50 fight. I give it more. It's 50-50 in a sense, but because of the experience, you can go 60-40. 60 with Boots, 40 with Xander, but it kind of is a 50-50 fight, yes.
Boots has just looked more special athletically to me than Xander throughout their careers, right? On the other hand, when you said Xander got better, Xander was so precocious. He was such a young fighter when we first saw him. And you don't have your man bones yet as a boxer. Now he's into his 20s, maybe a different fighter.
As anticipation builds for the fight between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas, boxing pros are weighing in with bold predictions. Ennis brings explosive power and experience, while Zayas offers rising star momentum and technical skill, setting the stage for a compelling generational showdown.
Ennis, it looks like we're going to be getting a fight with Jaron Ennis and Zayas. A great fight. How do those two match up together? We see Jaron Ennis really getting a crack at a guy who is as gifted as he is almost skill-wise, who has the determination and the will that you just talked about.
The winner of that fight should dominate the junior middleweight division for a little while, because those are the top two guys of the division. They're meeting at a great time, and whoever wins this fight should be the supreme 154-pound.
Terence Crawford believes a showdown between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas would be an exciting matchup, but feels it may be happening too soon for Zayas. Crawford pointed to Ennis's experience and elite level, suggesting the young contender still needs more time to fully develop.
Xander Zayas announced this morning as well. Thoughts on that?
Man, that's a tough fight, you know, especially for Xander at this point in his career, but it shows his heart and his confidence, you know, that he has in himself, and he's ready to go make history for his country, and he's going to do real well in that fight. You know, I just think, you know, right now, you know, it's a little bit too early.
Former world champion Abner Mays echoed Crawford's stance, agreeing that it may be too soon for Xander Zayas. Mayer has emphasized that Zayas is talented but still developing and facing Jaron, and now could be a premature step.
Possibly happening, Xander versus Boots. How do you see that fight going? Do you think maybe Xander's a little bit too young there?
Too soon.
Too soon. You think it's
too
too soon?
Brother. Yeah, I love Sanders, and if he waits and if he's smart and his team is smart, they'll hold on at least 2 more fights, and then, you know, release him to the wolves. And that's, I'm just speaking realistic in how I see it, because I wouldn't want him to lose a really hard fight and him just declining. You get me? And it happens. We've seen it with fighters where it's too soon of a fight. I mean, let's not go far. I mean, I hate to use him as an example, but when Vargas fought Trinidad, it was too soon, brother. And, you know, you gotta be patient with your fighters, and I think they have to be patient with Xander Zayas. Not that I'm saying that he can't win. Maybe he can, but maybe he's gonna get hit too much or injured himself. You get me? So wait a little bit for
However, legendary former champion Roy Jones Jr. has praised Xander Zayas as a complete fighter, highlighting his balance, skill set, ring IQ, and maturity beyond his years. Jones's assessment adds weight to Zayas' growing reputation, suggesting he has all the tools to compete at the elite level.
A guy like Xander, naturally it sounds like Xander may be an underdog in this matchup. What do you think that Xander presents to Boots that, one, he hasn't seen before, and that, two, he'll have to adjust to be successful?
Height, discipline, and Xander's actually a good puncher, and he also knows how to work to the body. So Xander is a complete fighter. I don't know how many complete fighters Boots really has faced, but unlike the guy he fought from overseas who was a decent fighter but he wasn't complete, Xander's complete.
Tim Bradley predicts that Boots might stop Zayas, predicting a win around 9-1-1. Bradley explains that Zayas often tires in the later rounds, especially 89, because the significant weight he cuts between fights drains his legs and overall stamina.
Xander, he could. I've been reading a lot of comments and stuff, and people saying that, you know, 9, 10. I've been also seeing, you know, 11. Shit. Look, I just got done studying some Xander Zayas, man. Late in the fight, he begins to fade. You know, round 8, 9, he starts to fade. Yeah. You know, he starts to fade because all that weight he put on. You know, he put on so much weight in between fights. Boots, put on weight too. I'm like, God, this dude is big. He look like he about 175. And he come all the way down to 54. Shit, that shit drains him. That drains him. And it pulls from his legs. And in the later rounds, he started to get fatigued.
Reviewing Zayas' last fight, he observes that while consistent pressure was applied, there wasn't any advanced strategy or movement capable of effectively countering Boots' aggressive style.
Noticed that in the last fight. You know, he tried to keep it together with good technique, but shit, he can't hide that shit from me. You can't hide that from me, man. Went back, watched the film, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is standardized type of pressure that this dude been putting on him all night. It ain't no special effects. You know what I'm saying? He ain't cutting the angles and looking to cut him off. Occasionally he will follow his ass. Once he, if he goes Xander pulls out left, he'll try to, meet him with a left hook or meet him with a right hand. But, it wasn't nothing that was like crazy. With head movement, the shit that Boots gonna be doing, all that head movement and sliding, tucking and moving on angles and shit. Boots, that's what Boots gonna attack his ass late. And Boots got power. He got major power.
Former world champion Sean Porter sees the Ennis versus Zayas matchup as highly competitive, praising both fighters' talent. He notes Ennis' experience and pressure make him dangerous, but also respects Zayas' skill, athleticism, and youth, saying each has plenty to offer in the ring.
I feel like you yourself, like I said, great boxing mind. I was wondering if I could pick your brain with a particular matchup that was announced yesterday. You sparred with both of these gentlemen. It's Boots and Zayas.
Oh, yes.
From what I understand, Zayas, a little younger into his career. Boots, I believe sometime last year, we were able to get some work with him. And you said it's a little closer than what some people are saying. So how do you view that in particular?
Sure, man. You got two soldiers. We always identify ourselves as warriors, so you guys know that we're warriors, right? But I think a lot of times, a lot of fans, they forget that there's two warriors, and they get so caught up in what one warrior has, and they completely forget that even though this guy's got something, listen, this guy standing across from me, like I was saying on the Borderway podcast, we understand that this guy is dangerous. And until we put that guy in the right position.
While Porter leans toward Ennis as the likely winner, he stresses this isn't a one-sided fight and expects a tough competitive battle where either man could emerge victorious.
And I truly do think that Xander has a lot, not just some. He has a lot of attributes that are going to offset what Boots has been known for, what Boots has been able to do. And I think it's going to be a pretty good competitive fight. I do think that Boots is a bit much for the younger Xander, but Xander's had a lot of really good experiences that's made him worthy for this moment. I think right off the top, I would say Boots wins this fight, but it's not an easy fight. And should Boots not just simply sit down at the dinner table and have his way, don't be surprised. And I think that's another part of the game that gets lost. You got to promote both sides. Right. It's always A side, B side, and I get that. I understand that. But you gotta promote the B side, because what happens when the B side is doing something that you don't expect? All of a sudden, A side isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing, or he's not who he is. No, it's that the B side's more, but you gotta promote it that way so that people expect more. So I think along the way, that's gonna be my narrative. Is hey, both these guys are really.
Hall of Fame legend Winky Wright says a fighter only becomes great by beating great opponents. And a matchup between Zayas and Jaron Ennis is exactly that kind of test. He believes it promises a genuine fight and a huge opportunity for both men to elevate their legacies by proving themselves against elite competition.
Looks like Xander and Boots are going to fight. What are your thoughts on that fight?
It's going to be a good fight, man. The division looking good right now, and I just want to see all the fighters fight each other, man. The best need to fight the best. That's what's going to bring the fans to boxing. And, you can only be great by beating somebody great. You know what I'm saying? You can have a bunch of wins with no great win. You're just a good fighter, but you want to be great, you need to beat another great fighter. So they got the opportunity, and I hope they.
Richard Torres Jr. says he's a big fan of Xander and respects what he brings to the ring. He believes Zayas has the skill and heart to make things tough for Boots Ennis.
More for you. What do you think about Boots versus Xander? How do you pick that out?
Man, it's two insanely talented fighters. I myself am a Xander fan. I'm through and through since day one. I've known him since the amateurs. I'm gonna rock with Xander. He's my guy. I won't ever go against him, man. So Xander's my guy, and I'm gonna keep with him. But Boots is such a talented fighter. I'm a fan of his as well, and I'm excited for that. I just saw he posted today that he signed the contract. So Let's see how.
Rising prospect Brooke Mullen offered a bold prediction, backing Ennis to dominate. She suggested Ennis's power and experience could overwhelm Zaz.
June 27th, Xander Zayas. I know we thought Virgil. I know we talked about that. I know we thought Virgil, but nice pivot.
Yeah.
What you thinking?
Oh, he's gonna punish him. He's gonna punish him. He's gonna take him to school, and he's gonna punish him. He's gonna box his head off. Circles.
Damn, bro. Like that?
Like that. Taking him to school, literally.
What do you? How does those fights differ? The Boots Virgil, the Boots Xander. Like, what's the differences in approach?
Well, I think that Xander's is bigger naturally, ain't he?
Yeah, he's a little bit bigger.
Yeah, but I think that I think Virgil's a little smarter defensively. I think Xander's more of a rough and tough type of kid, and he hasn't really been too experienced and in there with guys the caliber of Boots at all. So I think he's just gonna be. I think it's just gonna be. He's gonna be so outmatched.
She predicted that Ennis could secure a stoppage as early as the third round, pointing to his power, speed, and experience as decisive advantages in the match.
He's not gonna know what's in.
Where's the stoppage? Early, middle, late?
Boots had last time. I should have bet on that first round knockout, man.
Yeah, that was odd. I thought it would go some rounds.
I know my friend was like, "What should I bet on?" I don't know. I was like, "Damn, I should have guessed the first." I'm gonna say the third or fourth.
Yeah.
Say the third or fourth round. Let's come back to that.
Okay.
See how close.
Poyen AI believes the stakes are higher for Zaz in a clash with Jaron, and warning that Zaz has more to lose. He views Zaz as a rising star whose momentum could take a major hit with a defeat.
Xander has more to lose here, you know? Not that Ennis doesn't have a lot to lose. But, you know, in a fight of this magnitude, there's a lot to lose for both guys, and there's a lot to gain for both guys. But I think Xander has more to lose, and but also more to gain.
I agree on everything you said except for the fact that the point that Xander has more to lose, because he's already been a two-time champion at 54, unified WBA, WBO, and what was the other one? And the WBA. But if he loses, I think he just moves up to 160, and 160 is a wide-open division, and I think he can do a lot of really good there. Listen, a loss is never a good thing. It's risky for both fighters, but guess what? This is boxing. We guys taking risks when they're young. Xander's 20.
Bradley points out what he sees as clear defensive flaws in Zaz's technique, specifically highlighting how Zaz frequently drops his hands and leaves his left side exposed, creating openings that a savvy opponent like Ennis could exploit. He stresses that these lapses aren't just minor mistakes. They are vulnerabilities that could become decisive under sustained pressure. Beyond the defensive issues, Bradley contrasts their fighting styles. Zaz favors a counterpunching approach, relying on timing and range to land his shots and control the pace from a distance. Boots, in contrast, thrives by moving forward relentlessly, applying constant pressure and forcing opponents into uncomfortable positions where mistakes are punished, making him particularly dangerous against fighters who struggle under aggressive, persistent offense.
And there's spots where I see Xander, he just gets himself in some bad spots, man. He drops his hands a lot. I see too much exposure on that left side. Way too much exposure on that left side. He gonna have to keep that left hand glued to his face, because that overhand right of Boots is lethal. It's lethal, man. And Boots turn that uppercut up the middle too, especially from the southpaw stance when Xander's leaning forward, man. Another lethal shot. But man, I see a lot of holes in Xander's game, especially when you start to put that pressure on him. Yeah. He try to get the fuck out of Dodge. He don't want none of that heat. Nah, he don't like the heat like that. He like his space. His system requires distance. Can he fight a little bit inside? A little bit inside. It's not a specialty. Nah, he want to be able to work the combinations as you throwing shots. He looking for shots to be able to counter in between with shit, or he looking to start his shit, start the action, boom, weave underneath shots, counter, boom, boom, and then he on to the next. He around that corner, right? He turned the corner.
Despite entering as the underdog, Respected boxing journalist Mike Coppinger believes Xander Zayas is making a great business decision by taking on Jaron, and Coppinger highlights that facing a proven high-profile opponent like Ennis elevates Zayas' marketability and status in the sport, even if the odds aren't in his favor. Taking this risk against one of the division's most feared fighters could pay off financially and boost Zayas' reputation among fans and promoters alike, showcasing his willingness to compete at the highest level rather than playing it safe with easier matchups.